Just trying on some old costumes, waiting for my photographer. And I realised a problem. Why do so many patterns not have pockets? I'm going to fix that. Okay, let's find the right book. Aha! Household Sewing with Home Dressmaking by Bertha Banner. Let's see if we can find it. Definitely in here somewhere. Here we go. For the bag-shaped pocket, a piece of lining about 12 inches long and a few inches wider is required. This is folded into 2 widthwise, and from the top a small portion is sloped off 2 or 3 inches down the outside edge. Got the fabric, which is just some cotton, cutting a 12 by 14 rectangle. Try and get the edges straight. Mark up where the diagonal opening to the pocket's going to go. Check my hand fits. Pocket's no good if you can't get your hands in. Loads of room. Now I want to add a facing to the pocket so that from the outside you won't see the white pocket lining. I managed to find a scrap of the fabric this skirt was made from. Always keep your scraps. I'm trimming it down to make a really simple facing. If I was being a little more period accurate, I might make 2 strips up the diagonal for less bulk, but this will do fine. The easiest way to get a facing that fits the pocket perfectly is to use the pocket as the template for the facing. Get that cut out. Perfect fit. To get a neat edge on the facing, I've pressed under the edge and I'm just going to machine sew it in place. You could hand sew this, but this is pretty much a machine sewn skirt anyway, so there we go. Nice neat facing edge. The final pocket will sit this way round, so the hand goes in there, still plenty of space. I want to French seam the edges, so I need to do the first seam this way round. There we go. First seam. Now for the clever bit. Oh, sorry, wandered off screen a bit there. And now I want to French seam down here. So we turn it back round the other way again. Now put the first seam in the centre and sew across here. Doing another French seam, just trim down turn it back again. And there's the French seams. So this is the pocket, the way out it will be on the final skirt. So now I need to work out where I want the pocket. About there? Looks about the right place. For that height, just pop a pin in. I can remember where it is when I take it off. About 4 inches is the standard, and that looks about right. One of the clever things about the Victorian pockets is that they are attached not just at the seam, but also at the waistband. And this is done by using a piece of tape. I'm just going to use twill tape, and I just want to make sure that the twill tape I have handy will fit. So I've pinned the top corners pocket where they will meet, and I'm just going to check that this tape is narrow enough to fit on that top pleated section. Yep, looks good. Just sew that on, and then we can put the pocket in. So there's the skirt inside out. Just work out exactly where the pocket's going to go. Mark it at the bottom as well, so we've got top and bottom marked. Now have to unpick the seam. It was going to happen eventually. There we go. So now I need to pin the right side of the pocket to the right side of the fabric. But because the seam of the skirt had previously been pressed back, that effectively is the right side. Difficult to explain. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Fitting pockets is like sleeves. Don't do it late at night. Pin it, check it. So carefully pin all the way down one side, flip it over, pin the other side. And then this is one of those situations where it's a really good idea to carefully baste it first, just inside the sewing line, so that it's nice and stable before we sew it on the machine. There we go, all sewn into place. I did realise that this French seam had gone too far, so I had to unpick it to make everything sit properly. Take the basting threads out, Okay, let's have a look from the right side. It's looking good. Still need to finish off where the pocket meets the main seam. If you see here, back on the inside, there's a little bit of the original seam where we unpicked it, which needs redoing, and it is a lot easier to do this by hand. You can do it by machine, but it does need to be quite precise, so it's a lot more effective just to reseal those seams and finish the ends of the pockets by hand. Last step, to attach the tape to the waistband. So it just needs to be taut, the same kind of tension as the seam. Check where exactly that meets and hand sew it into place. Just sort out the end. No idea how this is supposed to be done, so I've just tucked it under and fell stitched it down so it doesn't fray. There we go, done. So we decided to do a little test of just how strong this design of pocket is with the help of my trusty fabric weight. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, holding those quite easily. As you can see, a good amount of the stress is actually on that tape rather than on the seams. That's better. For reasons I will go into in another video, I possess this beautiful 1860s day dress and it has a pocket. The pocket's been moved, but it's still a really good example of an ordinary person's ordinary pocket. So here you've got the pleat at the back where the tape would have been attached. It's a nice big pocket, and then carefully turn it over. It's come unstitched on one side, which does mean it's easier to see. So we've got the facing that I was talking about, all hand sewn, where it's been very roughly back stitched into something else. And here you can see that beautiful cross-seamed bag a la Bertha Banner, all hand French seamed.